Princess. Today I'm collaborating with one of my very favorite crafters on YouTube. It's Lianep from DIY Beauty on Purpose. I'm so fangirl crushing right now. Look at the beautifulness that Lianep creates. Such a fan. The link for her channel and her video will be in my description box below. Go check her out. And here is everything in this video today. So here again, I'm using one of my favorite Dollar Tree items, which is a gold basket, and I won't leave it gold. And these are new for spring at the Family Dollar store. You can get these right now. They're only $1 a piece. And I'm disassembling them because I don't need them to stand up. I'm actually going to use them to plank the bottom of that basket. When removing the houses from these pieces, be careful because you might want to use them in a DIY later because they are nice. And I do wind up using one later, as you will see. Now, they must have used some sort of heavy-duty industrial glue to hold those little houses on these boards. But if you heat that glue up with a hair dryer or a heat gun, you can get a butter knife underneath it and it cuts right off. Now you need to sand where that glue was and also to remove the words that were originally on this plank. Now I'm using a sanding block. I think that a palm sander or one of those power sanders would sure save you some time here. You can see some of the wording is still showing through on my sign a little bit, but I didn't let it bother me because I'm going to use this antiquing wax to cover it, and I'm going to use the baby wipe technique. And this is the first time I'm trying this. You're supposed to use a baby wipe because they're already moistened and it spreads this antique wax out better and makes it more like stain. And they are absolutely right. I loved the effect that this gave to these wood pieces because I've really been into natural wood colors, like not too dark, not quite bleached, although I do like bleach too. But you'll see, these come out a beautiful color. Okay, so truthfully, I love the gold color on these baskets. And if I had more sort of glam or more modern decor in my house, I would leave these gold because I think they're really beautiful the way they are. However, I have more of a rustic farmhouse thing going on in my house, so I'm using black chalk paint to paint this basket black. I was so proud of this idea. Look how stinking cute this is when you put these wooden planks in the bottom of this now blackened basket. This is another new spring item at the Family Dollar store that's only $1. It's very nice. It has metal and wood. And this is this peel and stick tile from the Dollar Tree that I'm going to put inside of this Family Dollar decoration. First, carefully remove the little piece that says family. And I say carefully because you'll need it later. I always try to reuse the pieces that I take off of other pieces because they're nice, they're not ugly, they can be used for other things. And this part is not an exact science. I laid the box on top of the peel and stick tile and traced around it for kind of a starting point. Obviously, it's not going to fit down exactly inside of the box, and it will need trimmed. Do this little by little so you don't wind up cutting off too much. And if anyone has a better idea, please in the comments, let me know, how would you get this to fit inside of this box on a first shot and not having to trim and trim and trim. The only idea I've come up with so far is to try to mark off where the edges of that frame is and then cut that. But it seems like I still wind up having to trim even after I do that. Finally, the glass slipper fit and we're in business. Now I want to take my tin tile and give it the effect that it has been painted and worn, like a vintage old tin tile. So I'm using Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint to give it a coat of paint, and then I dry it with my hair dryer. And here's Piper putting in his 2 cents on the crafting today, which he approved. The next step in the faux tin tile vintage distressing is to take some black chalk paint. I don't guess it really has to be chalk paint, but take black paint, and I think it works best with this foam brush, and try to wipe off the majority of that paint because you don't want to just paint black. You want to lightly go over the tile with just a very small amount of black paint, and you can see all the little indentations and all the little designs pop out with that black paint. Make sure your black paint is completely dry before moving on to your top layer of white paint. Then peel the backing off of your tile and put it inside of your frame. The final step is to wet distress, and that is to take a rag, or I'm just using a paper towel, and it's wetted with water, and you go over your tile, and that wipes off your top layer of white and brings through some of that black, making it look vintage and distressed. This is a jar that I got at the Dollar General store, and it was clearanced 50% off, so I only paid $1.50 for it. It's really cute the way it is, but you know me, I have to make it rustic farmhouse. So my first order of business was to remove the pink and gold Be Happy. I used Goo Gone from the Dollar Tree to try to loosen it. And then I used my trusty razor scraper from the Dollar Tree to scrape the design off. And it all worked very well. The glass didn't get scratched or anything. It worked perfectly. And I used the Goo Gone and my scraper to get the sticky label off of the bottom of the jar as well. Next, you'll want to wash and dry your jar because we're going to use a rub-on transfer, and I'm not certain that it would work if it still had any of that Goo Gone still on the glass. Okay, this is the most fun out of all the DIYs today, is these rub-on transfers that you get at the Dollar Tree. And I liked the whole bottom floral part, so I'm going to use that whole bottom floral part to put on this jar. And it's really easy to use these transfers. First, just cut out the piece of the transfer that you want to use. Then, get an idea of where your placement is going to go on the jar. Next, peel the backing away from the transfer, and you're ready to place it on your jar. But be careful, don't let it touch the jar until you're certain that's where you want it to go, because if you try to move it now, you're going to ruin your design. I learned this the hard way on another DIY. So once you get your transfer put onto the jar, then smooth it out And you can use a credit card, a Kroger card. In my case, I didn't want to go hunt for any kind of a card to burnish it on, so I'm using the back end of my razor scraper. Then slowly peel the plastic back, making sure that all the pieces stay on the glass. And if there is a piece that's trying to come up, lay the plastic back down and rub it on some more and try again. I swear I want to put these rub-on transfers all over everything. Look how pretty and easy that was, and oh, just so satisfying. This is a votive candle holder that you can get at the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to spruce it up for spring and turn it into a candle using this candle making set that you also get at the Dollar Tree. Now, the first thing I did was to remove the icky sticky sticker off the bottom of the candle holder. Since I love this moss color Waverly chalk paint so much, that is what I wanted to paint this candle holder. So I gave it one coat. Honestly, I think 2 coats probably would do better, but you know, hindsight's 20/20. I sped up the drying time using my hair dryer, and then I used my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint to paint that silver edge on the top. Next, I wanted to use a technique that I've been seeing that I love, where you distress with white paint, or some people use white wax, but I don't have any white wax. I haven't tried that yet. So I do have white chalk paint though, and I think it worked great. It really made this little candle holder look so cute. Now it's time to turn this candle holder into a candle. And oh, these scents smell so good. They have different ones, and since I'm such a beach lover, I had to go for the coastal looking one. But look at the pretty colors. Aren't those so springtime and nice? But it comes with its own glass jar that's pretty plain. So I just take the wick out of it to use in our painted jar. It just takes one little dollop of hot glue to attach the wick to the bottom of the candle holder. And then just layer your wax giblets or wax crumbs in whatever order you like to complete your candle. A word of caution, my white packet of wax crumbs had some lumps in it, so I should have tried to crumble them up while they were still in the package. That would have been easier. And then light the wick and you have your very own homemade candle. This is another decoration that I got on clearance at the Dollar General store, and it was originally only $2, but I only paid $1 for it. And I am a beach lover. I wish that I lived next to a beach, but I don't. So I'm going to repurpose this for a rustic farmhouse decoration. I'm trying to remove the twine off of the end, but it's really super glued down. And then I realized that there were staples poking up through. So In the end, I just kind of hammer those staples down so that they're not poking out anymore, and I leave the jute twine be. Then I paint the whole thing with 3 coats of the Rust-Oleum Linen White chalk paint. It took 3 coats to completely cover that wording on the front. Remember the house that you took off of the planks in the first DIY? I'm going to use it to decorate this DIY. And since I painted the wooden piece white, I want my house to have a wood tint to it. So I'm going to use the same antique wax in the baby wipe technique to turn this house into a natural wood color. Cutie patootie little wood house, and he's not going to sit alone. Remember the family that we took off of the second DIY? I'm going to use it as well. I used hot glue to attach the house onto the jute twine that we're wanting to hide. And at first I just used hot glue on the family, but you can see it didn't stick. So I went and got my wood glue, and I'm using wood glue first, and then I'm going to use hot glue again to get that permanent hold along with an immediate hold. And this worked great. It's holding very well. Now let's put all the pieces of our table grouping together. It's very cute, but I felt like it was missing something, so when in doubt, add greenery. And if not greenery, a linen. Oh, that's a lot better. Exactly what it needed, right? Here's a look at all the finished projects for a rustic farmhouse spring home. Thanks for stopping by today. If you liked this video, give me a big thumbs up, and don't forget, click on the link in my description box below to go see Lianep on DIY Beauty on Purpose. See you next time.